She thinks the world is supposed to cater to her. Redditors who are married to Karens, how is it like? Literal Karen, as in, it's her name. But she's like a bizarro Karen. She will constantly ask to speak with managers and supervisors and bosses. But when said managers arrive, she unloads about the employee helping her out was fantastic, hardworking, and friendly. And then she'll spend 20 minutes trying to figure out if she and the manager know someone in common. 9 times out of 10 they do. As a kid it would embarrass me, as an adult, it's one of my favorite things about her. She makes people feel good about the work they do, and it's really special to watch how wonderful she makes people feel. Plus she's got long gorgeous silver hair. I hate more than anything going out to dinner with her, listening to her order food, and talk to the servers. Holidays are also terrible. She sends out long lists of expected gifts list. She celebrates every holiday and birthday specifically for presents even when it's not appropriate. Funny thing is, one time I was away from the dinner table when the bill came and Sil waited for me to return to pay the bill by actually handing it to me. She didn't give it to her sibling/my or pay her half, but expressly handed it to me to pay. Between, her husband is an idiot and they are a match made in heaven. My sister is Karen. Everyone feels so sorry for her husband. Everything is his fault. He is treated like a slave. She only addresses him by yelling. She constantly insults him. We have no idea why he hasn't divorced her or flipped out and attacked her. We have all told her to cool it and her response is that he's just so stupid. I could go on and on, but my sister really is a horrible person. I know a couple with a Karen. She blamed him for everything. The husband was, in our opinion, something of a saint. Once she broke a glass in the kitchen, she came and sat back down at the table, and said, "That was your fault." We all just stared at her. She looked sheepish and said, "I knew that one probably wouldn't work." They're divorced, now. I guess even saintliness has its limits. My husband's ex is Karen. She's a classic narcissist. When one of our feral hens started acting aggressive towards other hens, my stepson named her Karen. She is self-aware she is a Karen. My siblings and I sent her memes about it. When my stepdad divorced her last summer, we were all amazed he lasted 17 years, to be honest. None of us like going out with her, it's terrible, and my husband just straight up tells her, "No, you aren't talking to the manager when we go in a place." I'll tell you guys a story my step told us. They are farmers and own a small beef and beef farm. They have a store they go to for beef supplies. The owner called my stepdad and asked him to please be the one to pick up their stuff because his staff was tired of dealing with my mom. He is the only one who went to the store for the next 5 years. She thinks the world is supposed to cater to her, serve her, and everyone else is wrong. Once we went to Carl's Jr. She ordered 4 burgers, for the 4 of us. She pulls one out of the bag while the guy is getting our drinks and hides it. She complains that he forgot a burger. She pulls them out one by one and counts it in front of him. It's obviously missing because she hid it and he's swearing up and down he put them all in the bag. I'm stunned speechless, and it happened so fast. She got a free burger and laughed as we drive off. I'm just staring at her and she opens it up to eat it on the drive home. And she ate her actual burger like the 5th one never existed. I can't even explain how she is when she's in the hospital. She treats it like a luxury stay in a hotel. I knew from the beginning that there would be difficulties, but I loved her and made the leap to make her my forever partner. Yes, her attitude towards certain people and things confused me at times, but by keeping an open mind and accepting her for who she was, everything has worked out well. We've been married for 10 years, we have a darling daughter, and I've even come to love my wife's kimchi fried rice. I taught my nephews, ages 9 and 11, about Karens last year when they stayed with us for a week after school let out. After describing traits and observing them in the wild, they asked somewhere around day 2. "Is our mom a Karen?" My reply, "You words, not mine." Married to one. She doesn't get why people think Karens complain so much. It's annoying for her and she'd like to talk to someone about this. My ex-wife is a Karen, in every sense but name. It was always so embarrassing. She was incapable of treating anyone like a human for the most trivial of occurrences. It was hell for me, as a person that's pretty forgiving and don't seek out confrontation. So in a one-word description, it was hell. Lol. She's very codependent and jumps from relationship to relationship these days. Not surprised. Engaged to one, she was raised like a princess by her military-raised father. However, she's super down to earth, but God forbid you to work in the service industry and mess something up. She worked at IHOP during college, so it humbled her compared to her family. She just writes reviews now, good or bad, and emails corporate to complain. If something is wrong with my food, she refuses me to sit there and eat it. Which I hate, but I have gotten her better about it, I believe. So maybe she is just a recovering Karen at this point. Divorced an abusive Karen who was convicted of domestic violence, that's misdemeanor folk, so she got half of everything. Totally worth it. My life before was a nightmare. Escape was priceless. Literally, her name is Karen. But she is like a complete angel. So selfless, so loving, so pure. I have never met anyone who has the heart she does. I swear I think she is just an angel God placed on this earth, I don't know. Anyway, she is pretty upset about this Karen thing going on. She doesn't understand why people are attacking her. She thinks she's been nice to everyone, and she has, she's amazing. But she doesn't understand why this is a thing. She would like to kindly request that we change Karen to Susan, and I agree. She doesn't deserve a meme about her. Her heart is too pure. Was married to a male Karen. Everything, and I mean everything, could set him off. We were at a local taproom and his iPhone automatically connected to the Wi-Fi. Keep in mind, he had full bars on our cell service. The Wi-Fi was being wonky and wasn't working. The manager, the super nice guy, comes over and asks how we are doing, while he washes some glasses in the dish pit on the other side of the bar. The following conversation ensues. Keep in mind, my husband is super irritated at this made-up problem because our cell service is working just fine and he can literally just turn off the Wi-Fi. Husband, your Wi-Fi is fucking trash. Manager, I'm sorry. We recently upgraded our internet, and Cox is sending us a new modem. It's supposed to be here this week. Husband, if you say you have Wi-Fi, you should make sure it actually works. Manager, I know. I'm sorry. I'd be happy to restart the modem to see if that helps. The husband then ignores him and continues to talk under his breath about a made-up issue. This was my life for almost 5 years. The sense of entitlement was frustrating enough in public, but more so at home. I had apologized to more servers, retail workers, neighbors, and random people in public for him in 5 years than the rest of my life outside of him. You know what, now that I'm talking about it, maybe he's not so much a male Karen. He's more like a piece of shit. When I first met my wife, she was beautiful in every single way. I remember looking at her when we walked around a lake, and as she spoke to the ducks, I thought, I'm going to marry this beautiful Snow White. She loved all animals and they loved her right back. Her soul was pure. She looked like a queen in everything she wore, be it jeans or a sundress. She was never a princess type woman, she was always destined to be my queen. She demanded love and respect because that was what she deserved. I'm not sure when she changed, but slowly and surely, she did. She humiliates me, she belittles me, and she saddens me. I'll never be right or even acknowledged to have a valid point or opinion. She wastes money that I work hard to earn. She has strategically spaced out our pregnancies to maximize the time she doesn't have to return to paid work. She has admitted this. Why don't I leave her? Better the devil you know, I was married to a Karen. I'm sure the question on everyone's mind is, was she like that at home? The answer is abso-fucking-lutely. She was the kind of Karen who had to be absolutely perfect or I'm complaining. Restaurants, stores, anything. At home was worse. I couldn't do anything right. Any ambitions or dreams I had, I wasn't good enough to do, so why try? So glad I divorced her. Bonus. The lawyer she hired was an idiot and wrote the paperwork up wrong, so she won't get anything from my retirement. My brother was married to a Karen. She lived to berate people and rarely went anywhere without a flask of vodka to fuel her fire. She despised kids and wasn't quiet about it. In the first year of marriage, she decided her husband had to earn sex. So if she didn't like the way he painted the shed or groomed the dog or poured his cornflakes, and she never did, there was no reward. After 10 years he divorced her, moved to another state, and married a kind-hearted, generous, empathetic lady. Karen still can't understand why he dumped her perfect ass. Early in our marriage, I started seeing some Karen tendencies in my wife. It started because companies were legitimately jerking us around on things we needed and she was trying to be more assertive. Initially, she had it compartmentalized. She'd turn it on when she needed it and turn it off once things were getting resolved. But she started losing her ability to keep it segmented, and this entitlement mindset started bleeding into other interactions. It never got too bad, but I didn't like the direction it was headed. I finally said something one night after she'd gone into a store to return something, and came back out to the car telling about how she gave the employee talking to about how terrible the return policy was. So I just asked her, an hourly employee, with no say in the matter, upheld the company policy as she was trained to do, and you thought it was appropriate to give her a talking to for that? How do you think that made her feel? What would you have done differently if you had her job? Was it worth ruining someone's day over this? Do you feel better that you made her feel bad, or worse? Is that how you want people to remember you? All the while I was circling back to the store. I parked the car and said something to the effect of, "I think you owe that woman an apology. And I think if you take a minute to think about it, you'll do the right thing." She argued with me for a few minutes, because she felt like I was attacking her, but to her credit, she walked herself back in that store and stood in line for 10 minutes to apologize. That was a turning point for her, I think. Since then, even when people have legitimately screwed up, she's been much more patient, understanding, and polite. I'm grateful she was open to my critique because I have other Karens in my extended family, and I don't know if I could be with someone like that. This is going to get buried, but it's a juicy one. I was married to Karen, and it was absolutely embarrassing and cost me many good friendships. I was in the military and she would continually cause drama with the other wives, wear my rank on her sleeve, and was the first person to judge. She always had the attitude that she was better than everyone, still does from what I've heard, and flip out on servers, and I would have to straight up have to sneak tip them. Well, after a few different duty stations and a lot of burnt friendships, I was getting tired of it, and I would look forward to going on my deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan. On my last one, she decides to cheat on me with my best friend, gotta love it, and I am immediately told about it. I'm not sure if it was because I was well liked or she was well hated. Anyway, this was my thank God moment. I can be the first one in my family to get a divorce and not get judged too hard for it and end 10 years of absolute misery. So, fast forward to today, my ex-best friend, thanks for the solid dude, lol, and my ex-wife ended up getting married. But if there is one thing you don't do, it's cheat on your deployed husband. This is very poorly looked upon everyone in the military, and you'll be excommunicated by the community, and the other is start a marriage based on cheating. So, from what I heard, not that I really give a shit, is that she is divorcing him for cheating on him, and she is no longer allowed to be on the post for shacking up with another married dude while his wife was deployed. The circle of shame continues. Also, this is just the tip of the iceberg, and there were a lot more repercussions for them because of the initial instance that happened while I was deployed. Thank you for watching Reddit Space. Please subscribe if you love these Reddit stories.